Imagine finally visiting Japan in the fall, a dream trip for a nature photographer. But you have no control over where you stop, when you stop, or how long you have to shoot. That's the reality I found myself in this past October. I was on a tour bus, watching moments pass, wishing I could go out and explore on my own. The autumn colors weren't quite there yet, but I still had a camera in my hands. This series is about learning how to see differently, finding beauty in motion, limitation, and moments you almost miss. Every image in this series comes from moments I didn't plan. Shots taken in motion, through a window, or trying to see as much as I could at each stop. This isn't about chasing perfection, it's about paying attention. We begin in Tokyo, one of the most populous cities in the world, a place where tradition and modern life exist side by side, often in the same frame. It's also where I quickly realized just how crowded Japan's most iconic locations can be. I was traveling with family, which meant photography wasn't always the priority. The trip was about being together, sharing meals, navigating streets, experiencing Japan for the first time side by side. So I found myself balancing two things at once: staying present in the moment, while still keeping my eyes open for compositions unfolding around me. So instead of fighting the pace, I started to work with it. And that shift, more than any location, shaped how I photographed Japan. After Tokyo, the pace finally shifted. The city loosened its grip, and for the first time on the trip, I could feel myself exhale. Our first stop near Mount Fuji was the Fuji Subaru Line 5th station. For the first time in days, we weren't rushing through a city or an airport. We were standing still, surrounded by sky and mountain. This place filled me with a quiet happiness as a nature photographer. Not because everything suddenly became easy, because trust me, it didn't, but because I finally had space to breathe and look. The light was harsh and direct. Midday sun flattened the landscape and washed out the subtle tones I usually chase. But having even a little freedom to move, to walk, to wait, to choose my angle, made the difference. Instead of searching for softness, I started working with contrast, letting the scale of the valley below, the clear blue sky, and the sharp edges tell the story. And just as I was settling into that rhythm, we were moving again. The Hakone Ropeway carried us above forest and volcanic terrain. For a moment, I was photographing in motion again, watching the landscape pass beneath me. But once we reached the station, everything slowed. The light was still harsh, strong shadows, clean lines, contrast between sky and earth. These images came from paying attention to light, scale, and leading lines. From letting go of how I thought the scene should look. Sometimes that meant stepping slightly off the beaten path. framing Mount Fuji with pampas grass in the foreground to add warmth and depth to the haziness of Mount Fuji in the distance. I wasn't chasing moments anymore. I was noticing when things asked me to slow down. Miho Museum was one of the most unexpected places we visited. Reaching it requires walking through a long tunnel carved into the mountain and across a bridge. After days of movement, crowds, reacting to light, this place felt like an invitation to be still. I didn't feel rushed, didn't feel like I was missing something somewhere else. Everything about Miho Museum felt intentional and yet somehow organic. It wasn't simply a museum, it was an experience. Modern architecture that asked you to stay a while, to settle in, to listen to the rain saturating the colors around you, to breathe. This was the moment that I realized this trip wasn't about chasing what I imagined, but paying attention to what was quietly unfolding in front of me.